So again, if we're looking at our sections of the floor plans and we want to add some depth to these, one thing that we introduce is a shadow. Again, the drawback of having a shadow when we export to a PDF is that we lose the sort of vector quality, or the output as a vector, and it translates it directly into a raster. Okay, so what we're going to be doing today is just looking at how do we take that raster image and combine it with the vector image, okay, together, and sort of take the power of one, A being the vector, and include the shadows. So the first thing that we can do is, if we go to manage, we can go to project information. Sorry, wrong spot. Sorry, location. So our location is telling us where the project is at. And Josh has already done this. So you've typed in this address, I assume. So we can search it by address. So if we come here, we have location. In this case, we can pick a city. So we can go to Chicago, Illinois. And then hit OK. And that actually will adjust the shadows to that location. So it's nothing really, critical. We can also, so that's using the default city list. We can also use the internet map and do search for a specific address, right? What's our address here?
30 West Lake, East Lake, right?
And if we zoom in on this, you can see, and then you can actually take this and move it around. Then it gives us the exact longitude and latitude of where our site is. So that plays, number one, it plays eventually in the weather and the performance of our building based off location. But it's also going to give us the shadowing that we might want. So under shadows here, this is where we turn them on and off. And then we can turn on our sun. Come on, sun. Maybe our sun will not want to turn off to that. I'm surprised our sun's not working.
It's that stupid round window.
Not sure why it's not working. Well, yeah, we sort of need that. Looks like it. Okay, let me try it again. There it is, sun settings. And we can actually go to single day and pick a specific, say we say summer solstice, or winter solstice, equinox, or we can give it a specific time. That's 12 in the morning. I guess there's the earth is, the sun is in the, so you can see what our setup is. So this is really up to you. I would use the same setting for all the views. And if you want to get sort of interesting, it's up to you. I mean, now we're again in the dark. Say we want to go with something like that. That gives us a sort of good shadow line. So we can adjust that again under the, if we click on here, sun settings. Okay. So we can adjust it. We know the location is correct. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take both. I'm going to take a version without the shadows, and you guys will see the difference. So if we print this to a PDF, and in this case I'm just doing the current view, and we can adjust the so it's set up for tabloid right now. Now we know we're dealing with a 24 wide, right? So we might go 24 by 36. Let's do that again. So I'm going to throw this on my desktop. So yeah, just set it to an ArcD. Okay, so we're good there. We're going to hit OK. And we'll save this on the desktop. And what we'll see is that, you know, it's what we expected, right? It's vector based. As we zoom on this, we don't lose any quality, so forth, so forth. So the next thing I'm going to do is turn on the shadows and then go ahead and print it. You can see Revit will use raster printing because this view is using shadows, shading shadows, point clouds, or gradients. To use vector printing, use the view control bar at the bottom left button view option to turn off these options. So if you're going to use this, it's basically saying, hey, this is going to be not a vector. So that's fine. We're going to print it. Hit OK. Hit no. Let's change the name. We'll call this Rast, or let's call it Rat for Josh. Okay. And it opens as a PDF, but we can see right away that this stuff looks really different, right? And it's not like it looks bad, but it doesn't have the same sort of crispness, right? So I'm going to go ahead. What I'm going to do next is open up Photoshop. I'm going to open up that image and basically take away all the black lines. And you're saying, John, why are you taking away the black lines? The reason I'm taking away the black lines is so when I open it in Illustrator and lay it underneath my vector drawings, my vector lines, I'm not going to see any fuzzy black lines from, you know, the previous, you know, from the raster. The reason why I open it in Photoshop is so I can do that technique. Now, right away it goes to resolution. 24 by 36 at 300, that's more than enough. So you can probably just leave it as a default. And you can say, well, John, it's going to be pretty hard to pick those black lines. What we can start doing is image adjust brightness contrast. If we use legacy, we can start to sort of separate, you know, the black line. And then what we can do is select color range, pick that black line. This tells us like how fuzzy it needs to be. Let's go ahead and just try it at 10 for right now and hit OK. 10 is like your bare minimum. Looks like we can go a little higher. Select color range. Let's go to 30. And the idea is that eventually what we're going to do is take away all the extra black lines. Well, what I can do is also to the selection is go to modify, and go to expand, and we'll expand it 1 pixel to get a little bit more. So here in my layer, I can then go ahead and just hit the delete button, and it takes it away. So it takes the majority of sort of the fuzziness away. And the idea is that it leaves more of the shadows, right? So after I've done that brightness and contrast, I can do it again, image adjust brightness and contrast. And rather than making it more contrasty, I want to make it less contrasty and really start to pull out like all the color, or sorry, all the sort of tonal value of it to like a real shadow. And then I'll do it again, image adjust brightness. I know it seems like a lot of steps to give it more as a shadow feel. Okay. So this now is going to turn into a underlay for my other line drawing. So I'm going to save this, and I'm going to save this as a JPEG, and we'll put it on max for now. And then I'm going to go and open up Illustrator. And compile the two. So you can do this you can have the whole sheet, but then do each view shadow-wise individually. And then start putting them together in Illustrator. Now, to be honest with you, Illustrator is a good place to put it together. I actually prefer InDesign, but I'm trying to, not over-tool you guys. So we're going to open the one without the raster. So there's our line information, right? Now what I want to do is go to my layers, make a new layer, put it underneath. I'll lock that layer. And then I'm going to go, and then, well, this before we lock it, there's usually a white background that we got to delete. So I deleted it. Then I'll go to this layer, lock that one. And then I can go into place and grab the rat house and start to underlay this. And we might get a little weirdness. Maybe the offset wasn't necessary. And maybe we can take this guy. Yeah, I'd say let's try it again without the offset. I think we were grabbing the black fairly well. So let's try to let's do a save as JPEG. Save it right over that one. So we can reload that. And then the only thing I don't like, we're getting a little bit of fuzziness there. So another trick we can do to this is if we go to, let's do an undo again. Which is here. Yeah, the problem is really the pixelation. So one thing we could do on the export, so if we go back to Revit, and this is where you want to save this file as something else. The lines are really heavy, right? So we can go to Object Styles, and then just pick everything, or do a Select All, and then change everything to 1. It's a little hard to see there, but everything should be thinner. So let's go ahead and print that again. See if it made a difference. You just close. Let's try open that again. So definitely thinner, right?
Yeah, looks better.
So we just thinned it up. This might actually work without even selecting the lines. So let's go ahead and save this as a JPEG. Go back to Illustrator, we pick the image, linked file, we reload it. Oops. I think that looks pretty good. What do you guys think? It's a little blurry, but it adds a shadow. So the other thing that we can do, when we go to print, there's a present. So I went to print and then setup. Under raster quality, there's a presentation. Yeah, it's not even, we don't have to worry about that. So let's put it to, see, I don't understand why they don't have this really high. We just have grayscales. So the only thing we can really do is set it to presentation. So let's go open up that. It's taking longer to produce, so I hope it's going to be better. We're going to go ahead and open it up in Photoshop. I'm going to kick up the resolution. Double what they had. It's going to take longer to open.
How many did you got?
I made it 600 to see if it will make a difference. Doesn't seem like a huge difference. A little smoother. So let's go ahead and save this as a JPEG. Illustrator, image, linked file. Must be still saving. Yes, it actually asked if we wanted to update it. So there it is, updated. Looks better, right? You know, we do have some fuzziness, but we still have the crispness of the lines. And another trick what we can do is, if I'm back in Photoshop, There's a filter blur. There's a smart blur. So smart blur like softens. I know it's hard to see there. Let's see if you guys can tell the difference. But this looks too blurry. You need the lines there, you know. If you don't have the vector lines, never prints good. That's why I like doing it through this layering technique. Sorry, that's taking a long time, but
It seems like blur effects and that kind of thing always take a while, don't they?
so you see how like it basically like smooths it out. So if I save this again, looking at the save time here. I mean, plus we're probably getting a preview of it. I mean, it's showing the DPI. So let's go ahead and export this. Actually, we just can do a save. We don't need to export it. File. Let's do a save as. Let's save it as a PDF. Still saving. Okay, it looks like it's done now. So you see how it does the shadow and then I think that looks pretty good. Has a quality to it, right? So the shadows really add something. And again, the only issue is the reason why I go through this process, so we still have the vector geometry. So I think it would be interesting to see this, you know, maybe on, you know, the section, you know, when we cut through these things. So as you have walls, or if you have sort of different parts of the building, this seems more like a three-dimensional drawing. And then you can compile it all on the, you know, on the sheet in Illustrator, right? Eventually you're going to be moving to Illustrator. So I think it's a quick little tool. It doesn't take too long, but it does add a better effect than just using the raster technique. So I like to see everybody use the shadowing technique. So you guys are starting to finish with your projects, but I think it's important to probably add shadows to each one of those. So I would do one at a time. Okay. And then you'll have to realign them again, but that's pretty straightforward. You could do them all at once, I guess, too. You can try it. These computers should be able to handle it. My only concern is if the computer crashes or something. All right. All right, so that's part one. So part two, we'll take a break, and then we're going to do part two, which is going to be what you guys are doing on board number 2. We're not done. Claudia, where are you?